Yeah, nah man, you know we gotta do a joint for the ladies, right? So every club worldwide, we gonna move y'all like this. Come on, bounce, bounce, bounce. Hey girl, hey girl, hey girl, hey girl, hey girl. It's Friday night when the club lines be out the door.
Here we go, you guys. Guess what? It's that time again. We call it the HOtt PiXX segment. This is going to be our part 3 of a 3-part series. And I'm going to have to lead you guys with this competition that didn't turn out the way I thought. Now, I'm not saying it should go any other way. I'm just telling you, we actually have a topic that was the top black women who redefine fashion, even though that they're not technically models, but in all industries of entertainment. And we found it interesting because there's some notable names that's not in this group. And I do believe this, that at the time that you experience somebody who's talented, you tend to not look at them the same way as those who've earned it way beforehand. So you need time to look back. Well, I believe the people that was left out will have their time 20, 30 years from now. So they have time to come back and have the appreciable value that we're judging them on as it relates to those in the past. Because this final group, there's nobody currently in this decade in this redefining of fashion, so I'm blown away. So I'm going to tell you about the names who are left out. Rihanna, Beyonce, Halle Berry. Those alone made me stop and go, so who's your final 5? And your final 5, the difference today is, since they're already game changers, you already voted them that way, you're going to go back to 1 to 10. Because since they're all in the finals, you're going to rate them competitively.
Oh, I get it. That makes sense.
You have to. It's the only way to go.
Now, Vic, we got, in all fairness, we were acknowledging the beauty of Beyonce, Halle Berry. The question was whether or not they had redefined it,
right,
or continued in a tradition.
Right.
Because people had said, well, is that redefining, or did they just bring beauty to a certain level? Because they did. But was that redefining it? It's not like, Stanley Clarke on the bass, okay?
Right.
You said redefine.
Right.
So that's why we think maybe with time, like you said, maybe people look back after 20 years and say you did redefine it.
So true.
Because it is all the older, but they look good.
What he's doing is setting up his subject right now for his reason. I'm not going to let him get away with it.
I know.
You're trying. Yeah,
you're going to make us pay for getting rid of Halle Berry.
Oh, man, Halle Berry, Rihanna, and Beyonce. I don't even want to be. I really am caught between going, I have to be convinced of this. But when you guys see the final 5, maybe you change your mind. But I believe there's a disconnect because the younger generation probably didn't experience some of these ladies. So we're going to go to the top 5, and I'm going to tell you right offhand, the first young lady, all I can say is Tina Turner. Game changer. You guys voted her earlier this week as a game changer because not only what she did with fashion, with her legs, with her style, that she ushered in a style and look that many copied. Because on the stage of energy, on the stage of what they call athleticism, even though she wasn't considered an athlete, she had it all. So here's the 1 to 10. You're in the finals right now, Mario. What do you think?
She's a 9.
A 9?
She was, you guys. I mean, it has to take you way back. But she took the mini skirt to another level. People forget that. Right. They were wearing minis and dancing. Not only that, the best legs, dancing in them spikes.
Right.
Okay? Unheard of.
Yeah.
And of course, the whole thing with Ike and the whole musical thing. So they're going to be in the Hall of Fame. So no, she was a game changer. It was the 60s.
Okay.
But
a game changer. All right. Mac hasn't stepped in yet, and I'm shocked because he's probably dealing with some pushback on his job updates. But I'm going to go over to PMC. PMC dropped to 9.5, so you guys are in the same area code, so to speak. So not a 10, but a 9.5. Don, you're the man.
I think Tina is iconic. I think, yes, she's a game changer, definitely. beautiful legs, incredible voice, very talented, and she has a hell of a right hook, from what I understand. I'll give her a 9.5.
9.5. So you guys are consistent. Good enough for 9.5. I think the reservation is that you still have others to follow. Mackport, Townsend, Washington. If you're not able to vote or do anything, I understand. You may be troubleshooting. If you do come back and you decide to vote, put your number next to the name. Don't just put the number, because it may be slow, and then of course, you know, the stream may be slow. We're going to go to our second choice. This one is taking you even further back. All I can say is DD, Dorothy Dandridge, who I call the Holly Berry of her day.
She was, dude.
All right. Now I'm gonna lead you on, Mark, because she's film, fashion, and she had the short banging hairstyle. Even though it was in at that time, she was that. What do you think?
So much of our black history.
Yep.
And she was so bad. You guys go look at the old movies. She's one of those women that when you look at her, even in them old movies, you sit there and go, you marvel at her beauty, how sexy she was. You know, and the game-changing part was these were the women who forced white America to acknowledge the beauty that was in black folks. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You had to acknowledge Lena Horne. You had to acknowledge Dorothy Dandridge, Josephine Baker, and so I give her credit as a pioneer too,
right? Because
of the pressures that she had to deal with.
You know, so, nobody's going to appreciate that. I'm gonna wait till after the score from Don Juan, but I have my take on Lena Horne, and unfortunately, it's a different take. Even though I think she's a trailblazer, but it was for different reasons. So I'll tell you about it after Don gives us a number here on DD.
I think she's a 10. Not only for beauty, I mean, there's not a bad angle on this woman, and class act. She just looks like she was just born with it.
Mm-hmm. Wow, very well said.
Yeah.
Very well said. It maybe because we had the time to go appreciate, and then the stories. And when you get the after effect of something there, you know what happened with Lena Horne with me? The problem is that it carried along that she could pass for not being black.
Exactly.
And it made it difficult because I don't know if that's trailblazing as a respect to a black women fashion.
The trailblazing part was that Lena Horne, despite the pressures for her to pass for black, refused at any time to play that role.
Right.
Always declared her blackness. So the revolutionary part of her was as light as she was, how she refused to play that role and continually to acknowledge her folks. That's what made her stand out, because other folks did not do that.
Right. The fashion part is not on a different scale, on a bigger message. She's much bigger.
Yeah, I guess you would say I guess you would say it, certainly, because again she stayed in that role.
That's what I'm saying.
For quite some time.
Right. And I was going redefining fashion, but her look, what she was known to be, was much bigger. This is just a lower stage we're dealing. We're just talking about redefining fashion. All right. So far we got a 10 from PMC. You guys went 10 across the board on this one. Mar, you went a 10 on.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
10 for me too. She's one of the standards of which she's a standard by which others are to be judged.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we got the next one up. Like I said, it's hard to follow, and they keep coming. All I can say is DC is in the house, simply known as Diane Carroll. Now, trailblazer.
Let's see, her body's biting on this, ain't it?
Ooh, boy.
See, so notice how the competition goes here. Mario, I'm going to let you go ahead and start off, because DC, Diane Carroll, trailblazer.
She's right in there, defining fashion, look, pioneering, first sitcom. You had your first variety show. That was Nat King Cole, but she was the first sitcom with Julia.
Yep.
And not only, just the whole history of her, series of unhappy relationships.
Quality,
Yeah. And I think her big love was Harry Belafonte, wasn't it?
I think so.
I think it was Harry Belafonte.
I think so.
And that's the one she really wanted.
Right.
But at a time again, when America didn't want to. She was one of the black women who commanded respect,
Right.
okay, and admiration, and in that way she was a leader for us,
Right.
too, besides her beauty and style.
Right.
And she continued even to be part of what, Dallas?
Yes.
You know, she became even her symbolism as a black woman of stature continued
Right.
throughout her film career.
Yeah.
Right. So true. So Mario, you want to drop your number? 'Cause
10.
Oh.
And especially because when you show her in her youth,
Right.
you see how she was even finer than she was later on.
Yes. Yes. She was.
This is a picture right here.
Yeah. Okay.
That's hot.
PMC dropped to 9.5. Let's go over to Don Juan. What do you say, man?
It's funny. I was just watching the 5 Heartbeats last week while in Costa Rica, and seeing her in that film, saying, "Wow, that's a striking woman, even in her age days. She's kind of nice, classy.
Yeah.
I think I'll give her a 9. Though.
9?
Give her a 9. Yeah.
Get her a 9. I got you. Now, just to refresh, I'll say this. The part that we're dealing with is the style of fashion we're used to today in comparison to what you appreciated back in the day. Growing up as a kid, when you looked at the Diane Carroll, all you do is just starstruck. So you were able to be a kid. You know what's happening with the current? You're growing up as adults looking at them as younger children. But they will grow to mature and hopefully have a life afterwards that you can appreciate. So it's like they said, their story hasn't been completed yet. So it's nothing against them.
We still want to bone him, Vic. It's just that you said fashion. Said fashion.
See what I'm doing? See what I'm doing?
Because I don't want anybody to construe my vote on Rihanna.
See what he did?
I love Rihanna.
Notice?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you're going to go, Mario, you didn't vote for Rihanna. I love Rihanna. I didn't think that she did redefine the fashion.
Yeah, you know what?
That's all I'm saying.
You just
all right, because you're going to keep making us. I know I'm looking like old dudes.
You reduce my moment where I'm being quality to a beefsteak, like just pork.
But I guess everybody understood we meant that.
Okay, let's go on. Let's move on. Mac, I'm sorry you're probably having problems with your system. So, hey, catch us up. We'll do a review on you later with what you probably would have voted on. Let's go over to our next young lady. This one is just simply the shortest name, or most popular name in fashion that I've ever experienced, called Iman. And they say the shorter your name, the more impactful your name, it has staying power. I'm going to go over to Don Juan on this one first.
All right, she was a 10 until she married David Bowie.
Oh, man, I knew it.
Freaky deaky.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so let me just
David
say.
Bowie, he's a he's a cool artist and he's world known.
You're right.
Come on, come on.
It's hard to imagine that working, but it has.
Wait a minute.
Says something.
Okay, I'm going to help you guys out on this. Let me say this. Okay, Mario. Woman says, you know, I dated Mario. Talking to another woman. What would you say he is? Say he was a 10 to me. He says he was a 10 to me, but if he wouldn't have dated you, he'd be a 12. Would you accept that answer?
Yes, I would.
Probably.
No, I would not get no damn 10. You give me no 10.
Okay, so let me do this.
That must be one of my daydreams.
Okay. I like what Don did. He gave that condition of a 10. I'm going to take the 10 because we don't want the other person to penalize somebody who has the gifts. But I love the condition because, Mario, you mentioned about David Bowie as well. And that's
Can't
history.
help but do it. When you think of her, you think of David Bowie.
But see,
Exactly.
right. But see, here's the part that we have to look back on. I have to do this. I say, we've all had our personal relationships. Do we want to be defined by, because I have had an ex-girlfriend who was my 10. I'm not going to tell you who it was. And then I followed up. She was a dark-skinned black woman. So I followed up and dated a lighter skin. And she did not favor that I went in that direction. So she penalized me as if I should be penalized.
Well, yeah, they do that.
Right, so I'm just going to take
hold
that. I know what it feels
you.
like, right? They hold it against you. But we're not going to do that. We're going to drop a 10 because I know Don is a player.
We hate the game.
Me too.
We hate the game. So we got a 10.
Why must I chase the cat?
Got another 10 from PMC. Mario, you're left up.
I'm going to give her a 10. You know, she actually sort of was the wave of the African models.
Right.
In the prominence. You know, she started all of that. It started with her and became an ongoing institution.
Right.
So yeah, no. And she still carries herself with such class. She always looks good when you see her.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. You know what? You know what? Yes, she is. I was a Beverly Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, I was a Beverly Johnson
her.
fan. But Beverly was USA. Iman was the world.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's why I wanted to put Beverly here, but
you should have put Beverly in. Asshole. All the Beverly people. Right, Vic. See, now he said it. Right, Vic, and say, why is it Beverly Johnson?
Wait a minute. I told you. Preferably, for me, Beverly Johnson. But if
it's your show.
But she... Let me just say this. We got tens on the
me for the
tens across the board. We got one more to go.
Right.
This is going to pull on everybody because simply she was known as Foxy Brown Pam Grier, who actually trailblazed in so many different ways that she transcended film, photo, swag.
She's a good. She's a cool lady.
Yeah, she is.
She's a classy lady. I think she stayed married. I think.
Yes.
If I'm not incorrect, I think she's been married for like some 20. I don't know.
Yeah.
At least she had some long lasting. She was not in the press.
Right.
You know, kept her slate really clean and classy.
I kept saying.
I like Pam Grier.
I keep saying she was our Raquel Welch who could be in the not James Bond films. They were lower budgeted films, but she played in everything. Yeah, they were cheaper films. Yeah, they were B-rated films. The black exploitations and all that. But she was our growing up the one that said she fulfilled things we never saw from a black woman put in that role. You know, you compare it to Dorothy Dandridge and the whole thing. She went beyond.
They didn't have black action.
No.
Women back then.
Right. So let me jump off here. PMC drops his 10. Mario, what do you say? Oh boy. Oh, and I know what you're gonna go with this one. You thinking long, bro?
9.8.
Oh, you went 9.8.
Oh, come on, 0.2. See, they gotta make see. Give me letters. Why you give him 9.8?
Wait a minute. All right, I'm gonna say this. I'm not mad at you. Let me go on with the Don. Let's see what he thinks.
Wow.
Now you feeling pressure.
You know, you're seeing these pictures of her, and wow. Wow.
Takes us back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Trailblazer now. Redefined fashion.
We were young adolescent males.
She's got the body of a goddess and the face to protect her. That's right. Wow. You gotta give her a 10.
Yeah, I know. It's hard not to give her a 10.
She was everybody's poster child,
yes,
wasn't she? Didn't everybody have a Pam Grier poster?
That's why I'm shocked that you did 9.8.
Well, only because the fashion thing, she redefined a look in a different way. It was the kind of down-home, round-the-way girl, relevant sister look. So it was a rougher look. It wasn't a high-fashion look.
Right.
But it was what we were looking for in the 60s. We wanted to be that. We wanted to be relevant to what we felt to be the revolution that was occurring.
Right.
And so Pam Grier's look had a lot to do with what women at that time and what the brothers were wearing in the streets to make statements. It was a different fashion statement that was going on then.
I agree.
Totally different.
It was.
Hair and everything. We were just making different statements.
I think she redefined so many categories, but maybe not unique fashion, that she was the fashion of color for us.
Her afro has a lot to do with it. Even with the straight hair pictures, remember, what do we really love too with Pam Grier? When she wore her big old afro.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody loved her big afro, okay? Straight hair was cool, but afro.
Let me say something that you got to experience more than anything. Everybody loves the bikini shot because you're going to see that, but you only see that when you go to the beach. That middle shot with the tie.
Yeah. That's the poster
That's
shot.
The one that you saw in high school, college or whatever. That was the symbolism to me of, and she didn't invent that. It just so happens she popularized it because
revolutionary sister look.
So I understand.
That's what it was.
Yeah, she
big earrings.
Right. So I got you.
And
so,
you know what's funny? With all the ladies that we've seen here today, I don't think anyone had a weave.
Oh. Wow.
Oh, you know what? You're right. You know what? Maybe nobody. You know what? That's a good point.
Yeah. Very possible. Very possible.
All right, Don.
And even if they did, you have to deal with the media shots that they actually put them in the hair roll if it's in a movie film pick because some of that happens. But naturally, she wore her natural hair.
It's just interesting.
Yeah.
Dorothy Dandridge had natural hair.
Definitely.
Iman had natural hair.
All of them. Yeah. Well, here's the results, you guys, to let you know, because you guys got a runoff and you're going to have to pick. I can say in third place, Diane Carroll. Not bad. You can take it to third place, Diane Carroll. And tied for first, Dorothy Dandridge and Iman. Okay? Second place don't count because that's Pam Grier. Unfortunately, she didn't make it. So here's what you guys have to do. You have to vote. And you have to distinctly say over 10. What number would you give each of them?
Iman.
Right?
Diane Carroll.
That's only 2.
And between those 2.
All you, Iman, perfect 10s, Iman and Dorothy Dandridge.
Between Iman and Dorothy Dandridge.
That's it. So when you guys vote now.
So is that for number 1 or for number 2?
No. Both of them tied.
For number 1.
So everybody else is out of it.
Okay.
Because they're the only ones that got perfect scores.
Okay.
I just gave you second and third place just so you know.
That's hard.
I know. So you guys, PMC got it. PMC says Dorothy gets a 12. Oh. And guess what? He gave 12 to Dorothy, so we know what he's voting for. And he gave Iman 11. Well, let's go over to Mario.
I'm going to give Iman the edge.
What number you want to give her? Over 12. I mean, over 10.
11. It's not much of an edge.
I know.
Yeah, but, Iman's whole fashion thing. And then it was for modeling a whole different thing now to start looking at black women like that.
Right.
Even though Dorothy did it too. I just think Iman just the whole.
So you don't give any extra points to Dorothy?
I keep her at 10.
Keep her at 10. That's cool. That's all right. I want to make sure.
I keep her at 10.
Keep her at 10.
Prone to hyperbole.
I am. Okay. Let's go over to Don Juan. What do you say, man? Who over 10 if they deserve it?
They both deserve over 10. To me, I think I need some Zion rum right now. This is rough.
Yes, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard.
One of the two.
Dorothy gets a what?
She gets a 12.
Dorothy gets a 12.
Yeah.
And
Iman 11.5.
Wow, 11.5. Well,
so what is it gonna be? TikTok.
This is gonna be interesting. God, guess who wins by half a point? Dorothy Dandridge.
Yeah,
whoa, man.
I'm happy with that.
Wow.
I can live with that.
34 to 33.5. I'm going to tell you my pick. My pick was Iman. Before all this started, I said Iman was going to be my number 1. I didn't think Dorothy, I just didn't think you guys would go Dorothy.
It's something that long-standing clout.
Yes. Hey, guys, thank you for the hot picks.
Everybody.
Wow, enjoyed it.
Hot picks.
We'll do this again. I guarantee you the votes will change because they're subject to the interactive chat and the guests. So everything changes. We'll revisit this again next year.
Yeah. Nah, man. You know we gotta do a joint for the ladies, right? So every club worldwide, we gonna move y'all like this. Come on. Down, down, down. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey girl, hey girl, hey girl. It's Friday night when the club lines be out the door. Watch the